Here we are just over a week from the Stanley Cup playoffs, and unless you're in Montreal, there's not a lot to celebrate in Canada. Sad, really, because one of the best things about the playoffs in Canada is the atmosphere in the city of a playoff team. And at a time when a half dozen Canadian NHL teams might miss the postseason, there's an inclination to wonder why. And I don't think it's a difficult answer. It's the draft. Despite the money Canadian teams have and contribute to the NHL's bottom line, the business on the ice is still about draft and development. And in order to develop, teams have to have some high draft picks that go to the worst teams. So in other words, Canadian teams just haven't been bad enough. The Detroit Red Wings are an NHL anomaly, a team able to sustain a high level of play without top draft picks. But then they had Nick Lidstrom. But the facts shout out loud and clear that Canadian teams haven't had many of the best draft picks. In the last 12 amateur drafts, there have been 120 top 10 picks, the kind of picks that get teams foundation players. Just 20 of those picks have gone to Canadian teams. Over the same 12 drafts, there have been 60 players chosen in the top 5. These are the franchise-type Sid Crosby players. Only 8 of those picks were by Canadian teams. 3 most recently to Edmonton, and the jury's still out on that squad. For 13 straight years between Chris Phillips and Taylor Hall, the first pick overall in the draft went to a U.S. team. And so for 13 straight years, the biggest new superstar from Crosby to Steven Stamkos went south. Teams have to suffer to get the best picks. Colorado, for example, had just 2 playoff rounds in 7 years. Their building wasn't half full. And now they have Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Matt Duchene, and a promising future. Pittsburgh went 4 years out of the playoffs, and the team was almost out of business. Then 5 straight years drafting in the top 5. Fleury, Malkin, Crosby, back to the top. Chicago would never have had the business bounce back it's had without top 5 draft picks Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Bottoming out is painful and not a guarantee of future good fortune. There's some luck involved as well, but being in the middle of the pack seems to mean staying there. And in Canada, our NHL teams are mired in mediocrity right now. For Hockey Night in Canada, I'm Jim Hughson.